Your mind becomes the person you practice being every single day. The quality of your life is shaped by the thoughts you repeat, the habits you follow, and the choices you make when nobody is watching. Most people want a better future, but they continue the same daily patterns that keep them stuck. The truth is simple. Change begins when you change the way you train your mind. In this powerful audiobook, 10 positive habits that will rewire your mindset, you will discover the daily practices that can help you build stronger thinking, greater discipline, and a more positive approach to life. You will learn how small habits can improve your focus, emotional control, confidence, and ability to handle challenges. Have you ever asked yourself why some people continue moving forward even during difficult times, while others lose direction? The answer often comes down to the habits they repeat every day. This audiobook will guide you through practical lessons that can be applied immediately. You will learn how to replace harmful patterns, develop better routines, and create a mindset that supports growth. Your thoughts shape your actions, and your actions shape your future. Start building the habits that can change the way you think and live. Chapter 1. Start your day with better thinking. Your mindset begins long before your first task begins. The quality of your day is shaped by the first thoughts you allow to stay in your mind. Strong people are not born with stronger minds. They build stronger thinking through simple daily habits. Better thinking is not luck. Better thinking is a skill that grows through practice. Every morning your brain wakes up ready to collect information. During the first few minutes after waking up, your mind is highly open to new ideas. Many people unknowingly fill this time with stress. They grab their phone. They read bad news. They compare their lives with other people. They answer messages before they even understand how they feel. This creates pressure before the day has truly started. After repeating this pattern for weeks, it becomes normal. People then believe they naturally feel tired or unmotivated. The truth is that they trained their brain to begin each day with noise instead of direction. A better life begins with a better first thought. This sounds simple because it is simple. The hard part is repeating it every day until it becomes automatic. The brain follows what happens most often. It does not care whether the habit helps you or hurts you. It simply remembers what you repeat. This is why changing your morning thinking changes far more than your morning. It changes how you react during the next 12 or 16 hours. One useful lesson many people never hear is that your brain pays more attention to the first emotion of the day than most people realize. That first emotion becomes a reference point. A stressful beginning makes small problems feel bigger. A calm beginning makes the same problems easier to manage. This is why two people can face the same situation and respond in completely different ways. Their minds were already moving in different directions before the challenge appeared. Many people wait to feel motivated before they decide to think positively. Real personal growth works in the opposite order. Your thoughts create your feelings more often than your feelings create your thoughts. This is why successful people do not depend on mood. They depend on habits. They begin their day with actions that guide their mind, instead of waiting for emotions to guide them. Start by protecting the first 10 minutes after waking up. Those minutes belong to you. They are not for social media. They are not for email. They are not for other people's problems. Sit quietly for a moment. Take a slow breath. Notice the room around you. Feel your feet on the floor. Let your mind wake up without rushing. This small pause tells your brain that you are in control instead of reacting to everything around you. Next, Choose one clear thought that you want to carry through the day. Keep it short. Keep it real. Tell yourself that today you will finish what you start. Tell yourself that today you will stay calm under pressure. Tell yourself that today you will improve one small habit. Your brain remembers short, clear instructions much better than long emotional speeches. The simpler the message, the easier it becomes to repeat during the day. Many people fill their minds with goals but forget to prepare their attention. Attention is more valuable than motivation. Your attention decides what enters your mind. Every piece of information leaves a small mark. A helpful book leaves a mark. A negative conversation leaves a mark. Endless scrolling leaves a mark. Most people protect their money more carefully than they protect their attention. Yet attention creates every future decision they will make. A practical exercise can change this quickly. Before breakfast, write down 3 things you want your mind to focus on today. Keep the list short. 1 personal goal, 1 work goal, 1 habit you want to practice. Place the paper where you can see it again later. Reading the same words several times during the day strengthens the connection inside your brain. Repetition is one of the fastest teachers your mind will ever have. Another powerful habit is to stop predicting a bad day before it begins. Many people wake up already saying, "Today will be difficult." They repeat that sentence so often that their brain starts searching for proof. Soon, every delay becomes evidence. Every mistake becomes another reason to believe the day is failing. This is called selective attention. Your brain naturally notices what matches your expectations. Change the expectation, and you begin noticing different opportunities. Pay attention to the words you use during the first hour of your morning. Simple words shape simple beliefs. Saying that you are always tired teaches your brain to accept tiredness as your identity. Saying that you are learning teaches your brain to keep looking for progress. Identity grows through repeated language. Every sentence you repeat becomes a small instruction your mind follows. There is another lesson that many people overlook. Your body also influences your thinking. Sitting in one place immediately after waking often keeps your mind slow. Gentle movement sends signals that increase alertness. Stretch your arms, walk around your room, open a window, feel fresh air on your face, drink a glass of water slowly. These actions seem ordinary, but together they tell your brain that the day has started with purpose instead of confusion. Notice how different you feel after cleaning your immediate space. A made bed, a clean desk, a kitchen without yesterday's dishes. These are not only cleaning habits, they reduce small mental distractions. Every unfinished task quietly asks for attention. Removing simple disorder frees your mind to focus on more important work. Many productive people are not naturally organized. They simply understand that physical order often supports mental order. Avoid making difficult decisions during the first few minutes of your morning whenever possible. Decision-making uses mental energy. The more unnecessary choices you make early in the day, the less energy remains for meaningful work later. Prepare your clothes the night before. Decide your breakfast ahead of time. Know your first task before going to sleep. These small decisions protect your attention for the moments that truly matter. One of the strongest habits you can build is writing one sentence about the person you are becoming. Do not write about who you were yesterday. Write about who you are practicing to become today. Keep the sentence honest. Read it slowly. Repeat it before leaving your home. This creates direction. People who know where they are going waste less energy wondering who they should be. Many people believe confidence comes from success. Daily experience shows something different. Confidence usually grows from keeping small promises to yourself. Wake up when you planned. Drink your water. Read one page. Complete one important task. Every promise you keep becomes evidence that you can trust yourself. Self-trust is one of the strongest foundations of a healthy mindset. Your morning should also include a moment without noise. Modern life keeps people surrounded by constant sound, music, videos, notifications, conversations. The brain rarely gets a chance to organize its own thoughts. Sitting quietly for even 5 minutes allows your mind to settle. During silence, you often notice ideas that would never appear in a busy environment. Do not chase perfect mornings. Chasing perfection usually creates disappointment. Build reliable mornings instead. Some days will feel easy, other days will feel heavy. The habit matters more than the feeling. Showing up on difficult mornings teaches your brain something valuable. It learns that progress continues even without excitement. That lesson becomes useful in every part of life. People often ask why small habits matter so much. Small habits become repeated experiences. Repeated experiences become beliefs. Beliefs become decisions. Decisions become results. Most life changes do not begin with dramatic moments. They begin with ordinary mornings that quietly move in a better direction day after day. The person you become over the next year will not be decided by one great decision. It will be shaped by hundreds of ordinary mornings that nobody else sees. Every sunrise gives your mind another chance to choose a better direction. Every better thought becomes another small step toward a stronger mindset. Every repeated step builds a life that once seemed difficult, but slowly becomes your new normal. Chapter 2. Stop making excuses and take action. Excuses feel comfortable because they protect the mind from discomfort for a short time. Action feels uncomfortable because it demands effort right now. That is why so many people stay exactly where they are for years. They do not lack intelligence. They do not lack opportunity as much as they believe. More often they have developed the habit of explaining why something cannot be done instead of looking for the first small step that can be done today. The moment this habit changes, everything around them begins to change as well. An excuse rarely sounds like an excuse while you are saying it. It sounds reasonable. It sounds logical. It sounds responsible. That is why excuses are difficult to recognize. A person says, "There is not enough time." Another says, "They need more confidence." Someone else believes they need better conditions before starting. These statements may even contain some truth. The real problem is not whether they are true. The real problem is that they stop progress. A true statement that prevents action is still preventing growth. Many people believe successful people never hesitate. Real life shows something different. Successful people hesitate too. They also feel uncertain. They also become tired. The difference is that they have trained themselves to move before every doubt disappears. They understand that waiting for perfect confidence often means waiting forever. Confidence is usually built after taking action instead of before taking action. One useful lesson that is rarely discussed is that the human brain naturally prefers familiar situations over better situations. Familiar feels safe even when it produces poor results. Your brain is designed to save energy. Trying something new requires more attention. That is why starting a new habit often feels harder than continuing an old habit that no longer serves you. This feeling is normal. It is not proof that you are making the wrong decision. It is simply your brain adjusting to something different. Pay close attention to the words you repeat throughout the day. Listen carefully every time you say someday. Someday has stopped more dreams than failure ever has. Someday allows the mind to delay responsibility without feeling guilty. Days become months, months become years. Nothing changes because the starting point keeps moving further away. Replace someday with today whenever possible. Even one small action today creates more progress than a perfect plan waiting for another month. There is another pattern that keeps many people stuck. They spend more time preparing than practicing. Learning is valuable. Reading books is valuable. Watching educational videos is valuable. Listening to experts is valuable. But information alone cannot improve your life. Knowledge becomes useful only after it changes your behavior. Reading 10 books about discipline cannot replace 1 week of disciplined action. Learning should support action instead of replacing it. Notice what happens when you finish a simple task you have been avoiding. Your shoulders relax, your breathing becomes calmer, your mind feels lighter. This is because unfinished work quietly occupies mental space. Psychologists have observed that incomplete tasks remain active inside the mind longer than completed ones. That is one reason people often feel mentally tired without understanding why. Completing even a small responsibility reduces this hidden pressure and creates more room for clear thinking. A practical method is to lower the size of the first step instead of lowering the importance of the goal. Many people fail because the beginning feels too large. They decide to exercise for 2 hours after months of inactivity. They promise to read 100 pages every night. They expect immediate change. Within days they quit because the habit demands more energy than they can consistently provide. A much better approach is to begin with something almost impossible to avoid. Read 2 pages, walk for 10 minutes, write 1 paragraph. Small actions repeated daily create stronger habits than large actions repeated occasionally. Your environment also influences your willingness to act. People often blame themselves without noticing how many distractions surround them. A phone placed beside your work area competes for your attention every few minutes. A noisy room interrupts concentration. Constant notifications train your brain to seek interruption instead of focus. Improving your environment is not avoiding responsibility, it is making responsible behavior easier to repeat. Another overlooked lesson is that action creates information. Many people delay because they believe they need more answers before beginning. In reality, many answers appear only after the first attempt. You learn by doing. You notice mistakes by doing. You discover better methods by doing. Waiting until everything is clear usually keeps everything unclear because experience has not yet begun. Watch how children learn simple skills. They try. They make mistakes. They adjust. They try again. They do not spend weeks worrying about appearing perfect. Adults often lose this natural learning process because they become too concerned about judgment. The fear of looking inexperienced prevents them from becoming experienced. Every expert once produced work that was imperfect. Improvement came through repetition rather than reputation. One powerful exercise is to identify the excuse you use most often. Write it on a piece of paper exactly as you usually say it. Then write one practical response beside it. If you often say there is not enough time, then decide which 20 minutes you can protect each day. If you say you are too tired, then examine your evening routine. If you say you do not know where to begin, then choose the smallest task available. This exercise forces the mind to move from explanation toward solution. There is an important difference between being busy and being productive. A busy person fills every hour with activity. A productive person finishes work that truly matters. Many people remain busy because staying busy feels like progress. They answer unnecessary messages. They organize files repeatedly. They spend hours adjusting plans without moving forward. Productive people ask a different question. They ask, what single action will create the greatest improvement today? Then they begin there. Energy often follows movement. Many people expect energy to arrive before starting work. Daily experience suggests the opposite. Beginning a task often creates the energy needed to continue. The first 5 minutes are usually the hardest part. Once your attention settles into the work, your brain becomes more engaged. Momentum grows through continued effort. That is why starting quickly is often more important than starting perfectly. Another practical habit is to set a clear ending point for important tasks. Endless work creates unnecessary stress. Decide exactly what you will complete before you begin. Finish that commitment, then stop. This approach trains your brain to trust your schedule instead of fearing it. Clear boundaries make consistent action easier because the task no longer feels endless. The people around you also influence your standards. Spend enough time with people who constantly complain and excuses begin to sound normal. Spend time with people who take responsibility and solutions become easier to notice. Human behavior spreads through observation more often than most people realize. Pay attention to the conversations you hear every day, because repeated language slowly shapes repeated behavior. There will always be reasons to delay. Weather changes, plans change, feelings change, life remains unpredictable. Waiting for a perfect season is another excuse wearing different clothes. Progress belongs to people who continue adjusting without stopping. They understand that consistency is stronger than intensity. They return to the work again and again, regardless of temporary setbacks. Do not measure your growth only by large achievements. Measure it by how quickly you return to action after being interrupted. Everyone experiences difficult days. Everyone loses focus sometimes. The important question is not whether you stopped. The important question is how soon you begin again. Fast recovery is one of the strongest habits successful people develop. They refuse to let one difficult day become one wasted week. Each completed action quietly changes the way you see yourself. Your identity is built through evidence. Every promise you keep becomes proof that you are becoming more dependable. Every difficult task you finish teaches your mind that discomfort is temporary, but progress lasts much longer. Over time, you no longer describe yourself as someone who wants to improve. You become someone who consistently follows through. That transformation begins the moment excuses lose their place and action becomes your daily habit. Chapter 3. Protect your mind from daily negativity. Your mind becomes stronger or weaker through what it accepts every single day. Every conversation you join, every video you watch, every headline you read, and every opinion you keep thinking about leaves a small mark on your thinking. Most people pay close attention to what they eat because they know food affects their health. Very few people pay the same attention to what they allow into their minds. Yet the quality of your thoughts influences every decision you make, every relationship you build, and every challenge you face. Protecting your mind is not about hiding from reality. It is about choosing carefully what deserves your attention. Negativity does not always arrive in dramatic ways. It usually enters quietly. It appears through constant complaints. It appears through endless bad news. It appears through people who believe every problem is permanent. It appears through habits that make disappointment feel normal. Because these experiences happen every day, the brain slowly accepts them as a natural part of life. After enough repetition, negative thinking no longer feels unusual. It begins to feel true. This is how harmful thought patterns become daily habits without people realizing what happened. One important lesson many people never learn is that the brain gives more weight to negative experiences than positive ones. This helped human survival for thousands of years because noticing danger was necessary. Today, this same system can work against you. One criticism can stay in your mind longer than 10 compliments. One mistake can receive more attention than 20 successful moments. This natural tendency explains why people often remember failure more clearly than progress. Understanding this habit gives you the power to correct it instead of becoming controlled by it. Many people believe they need to eliminate every negative thought. That is neither realistic nor necessary. The goal is not to stop every unwanted thought. The goal is to stop giving those thoughts unlimited time and unlimited power. Thoughts appear automatically. Attention is a choice. Every minute you continue feeding an unhealthy thought strengthens it. Every minute you redirect your attention weakens it. Your brain builds stronger connections around whatever you repeatedly focus on. A practical habit is learning to separate facts from personal stories. For example, missing an opportunity is a fact. Telling yourself that you always fail is a story. Receiving criticism is a fact. Deciding that you are not capable is a story. One event happened in reality. The rest was created inside the mind. This difference matters because stories influence future behavior much more than facts. The sooner you recognize the story, the sooner you regain control over your thinking. Another powerful practice is paying attention to emotional leftovers. Most people carry emotions from one part of the day into another without noticing. A stressful meeting affects dinner. A difficult conversation affects sleep. A frustrating morning influences how they speak to their family. The original event may have lasted only 10 minutes, but its emotional effect continues for hours because it was never released. Healthy minds learn how to leave finished moments behind instead of carrying them into every new situation. One simple way to interrupt this pattern is by creating small reset moments during the day. After finishing an important task, pause for 1 minute before starting the next. Take several slow breaths. Relax your shoulders. Notice the sounds around you. Tell yourself that the previous situation is over. This small habit teaches the brain that every new moment deserves a fresh response instead of an automatic reaction based on earlier stress. Another source of negativity comes from comparison. Modern life makes comparison almost impossible to avoid. People constantly see pictures of achievements, expensive purchases, perfect vacations, and carefully selected moments from other lives. The mind naturally begins asking why someone else seems happier, wealthier, or more successful. What many people forget is that they are comparing their complete life with someone else's carefully chosen highlights. No one uploads ordinary struggles every hour of the day. No one shares every disappointment with the same excitement they share success. An effective response is to replace comparison with observation. Instead of asking why someone has more, ask what practical lesson you can learn from their actions. Instead of feeling discouraged by another person's progress, become curious about the habits that help them improve. Curiosity creates learning. Comparison creates frustration. The situation stays the same, but your response completely changes the outcome. Protecting your mind also requires protecting your conversations. Every discussion leaves emotional traces. Some people constantly focus on blame. Others always expect the worst possible result. Spending long periods around these conversations slowly influences your own thinking. This does not mean avoiding everyone with problems. Everyone experiences difficult seasons. The difference is whether someone looks for solutions or chooses to stay trapped inside complaints. Healthy conversations acknowledge problems while also searching for practical ways forward. Another overlooked habit is learning when silence is more valuable than another opinion. Not every disagreement deserves your energy. Not every argument deserves your time. Some discussions produce no understanding because neither person wants to learn. Continuing those conversations only increases frustration. Quietly stepping away is often a sign of emotional strength rather than weakness. Protecting your peace sometimes requires refusing unnecessary conflict. Notice how your body responds during negative moments. Your breathing becomes shorter, your muscles tighten, your jaw becomes firm, your heartbeat increases. These physical signals appear before many people recognize what they are thinking. This creates an opportunity. Instead of waiting for your thoughts to calm down, begin by relaxing your body. Slow breathing tells your nervous system that immediate danger has passed. As your body becomes calmer, your thinking often becomes clearer. Another practical strategy involves creating positive interruptions throughout your day. Keep a notebook with useful ideas you have learned. Save meaningful lessons instead of only saving entertaining content. Listen to educational material while driving or walking. Read a few pages from a valuable book before bed, instead of ending the day with endless scrolling. Small positive inputs repeated every day gradually replace harmful mental habits with healthier ones. Many people underestimate the effect of physical exhaustion on negative thinking. Lack of sleep reduces patience. Hunger increases irritation. Long periods without movement lower mental energy. The brain struggles to make balanced decisions when basic physical needs are ignored. This does not mean every negative feeling comes from the body, but physical care creates better conditions for clear thinking. Rest, healthy meals, water, and regular movement are not only health habits, they are thinking habits. One useful exercise is keeping a daily evidence journal. At the end of each evening, write down 3 situations that went better than expected. They do not need to be dramatic. Perhaps you finished a task on time. Perhaps someone smiled at you. Perhaps you solved a problem calmly. This exercise trains your brain to notice useful experiences that would otherwise be forgotten. Over several weeks, many people discover that their days contain far more positive moments than they previously believed. Be careful with the labels you place on yourself. Saying that you are always unlucky or always anxious encourages your brain to search for evidence supporting those labels. Identity influences attention. Attention influences behavior. Behavior influences results. Replace fixed labels with descriptions of growth. Instead of saying you are bad at something, remind yourself that you are improving through practice. This simple shift keeps the door open for future progress. Your schedule also deserves attention. Empty time without purpose often invites unnecessary worry. This does not mean every hour must be busy. Rest is valuable. Reflection is valuable. The difference is intentional use of time. A planned evening walk refreshes the mind. Endless scrolling often leaves people feeling mentally drained without understanding why. Purpose gives direction to your attention. Direction reduces unnecessary mental wandering. There will always be negative events that you cannot prevent. Unexpected setbacks happen. Disappointments happen. Unfair situations happen. Protecting your mind does not mean pretending these experiences do not exist. It means refusing to let one difficult event define the rest of your day or the rest of your future. Strong minds acknowledge pain without allowing pain to become their permanent identity. Every day your attention is being requested by countless voices, opinions, and distractions. You cannot control everything that reaches your ears or appears before your eyes. You can control what you continue feeding with your time and energy. Every healthy choice strengthens your ability to think clearly. Every thoughtful response weakens the influence of unnecessary negativity. Day after day, these quiet decisions reshape the way you see the world, the way you respond to challenges, and the kind of person you become. Chapter 4. Change your routine to change yourself. The person you become is shaped more by your routine than by your intentions. Lasting improvement is rarely the result of one big decision. It grows from ordinary actions repeated until they become part of everyday life. People often wait for a new year, a new month, or a major event before changing themselves. Real transformation does not require a special date. It begins the moment you change what you repeatedly do. Every routine teaches your brain something. Even the habits you never planned are teaching you every day. Waking up late teaches your mind that delays are acceptable. Leaving important work until the last minute teaches your brain to depend on pressure instead of preparation. Spending every free moment on entertainment teaches your attention to seek constant stimulation. At first, these actions seem harmless. Over time, they become automatic. Automatic behavior is powerful because it happens with very little conscious effort. One practical truth surprises many people. Your brain is always searching for ways to save energy. Once an action is repeated enough times, the brain moves it into a pattern that requires less thinking. This is why driving a familiar road eventually feels effortless. The same process happens with personal habits. Good routines become easier through repetition. Bad routines also become easier through repetition. Your brain does not judge whether the habit is helpful. It simply strengthens whatever you practice most often. Many people try to change their entire life in one weekend. They create long schedules filled with difficult goals. They promise to wake up earlier, exercise every day, read several books each month, eat perfectly, and never waste time again. Their excitement is real, but the plan asks for too much change too quickly. Within days they feel exhausted. They believe they failed because they lacked determination. In reality, the routine was too different from the life they had already built. A stronger approach begins with observation instead of correction. Before changing your routine, spend several days watching it carefully. Notice what you do during the first hour after waking. Notice how you spend your lunch break. Notice what happens during the last hour before sleep. Most people discover that they lose far more time than they imagined. They also discover that many daily choices happen almost without awareness. Awareness is the beginning of meaningful improvement because you cannot change what you refuse to notice. Another useful lesson is that routines are connected, like links in a chain. One action often leads naturally to the next. Staying awake too late makes waking up difficult. Waking up late creates a rushed morning. A rushed morning increases stress. Stress affects concentration. Poor concentration reduces the quality of work. The entire day changes because of one habit the night before. This means improving one routine often improves several areas of life without requiring extra effort. Instead of asking how to become more disciplined, ask how to make the next good choice easier. Small adjustments often produce lasting results. Place a book where you usually sit. Fill a water bottle before going to bed. Prepare tomorrow's clothes in the evening. Keep healthy food where it is easy to reach. Store unnecessary distractions farther away. These simple changes reduce the number of decisions your brain must make. Good habits become easier because the environment quietly supports them. Many people believe routines remove freedom. The opposite is often true. A thoughtful routine removes unnecessary confusion. It saves mental energy for important decisions. Consider someone who always begins work at the same time each morning. They do not waste energy deciding when to begin. That decision has already been made. Their attention remains available for meaningful work instead of repeated daily choices. Another overlooked principle is that routines create emotional stability. People often assume emotions control behavior. Daily experience shows that behavior also shapes emotions. Washing your face, opening the curtains, making your bed, and beginning the day with purpose send clear signals to your brain that life is moving forward. These actions seem ordinary, yet they create momentum. Momentum influences attitude far more than many people realize. Pay attention to transition moments throughout the day. These are the short periods between one activity and the next. Finishing work and arriving home, leaving school and entering the evening, completing dinner before relaxing. Many people lose valuable time because these transitions happen without intention. They sit down for a few minutes and remain there for hours. They check one message and continue scrolling long after they plan to stop. Creating a simple routine for these transition periods helps protect the rest of the day. One effective method is attaching a new habit to an existing one. This works because the old routine reminds you to perform the new action. After brushing your teeth, stretch for 2 minutes. After lunch, walk outside for 10 minutes. After finishing work, spend 15 minutes learning a new skill. The existing habit becomes a reliable reminder. This method reduces the need for memory because one action naturally leads into another. Many people underestimate the importance of ending the day well. Evening routines quietly prepare tomorrow's mindset. Leaving dishes everywhere, ignoring unfinished responsibilities, and falling asleep with constant screen time often create unnecessary stress before the next morning even begins. A calm evening routine prepares both the body and the mind for better rest. Put away what you used. Write tomorrow's most important task on paper. Dim the lights. Read something useful for a short time. These actions tell your brain that the day is ending in an organized way. Another valuable insight involves decision fatigue. Throughout the day, your brain makes hundreds of choices. Some are small, others are significant. As mental energy decreases, people naturally begin choosing what is easiest rather than what is best. This is one reason evening habits often become unhealthy. Planning important routines earlier in the day reduces the chance of making poor decisions when your energy is low. Do not judge a routine by how exciting it feels. Judge it by the results it creates after several months. Many beneficial habits feel ordinary. Drinking enough water is ordinary. Going to bed on time is ordinary. Reviewing your goals each week is ordinary. Yet these simple actions steadily improve physical health, mental clarity, and personal direction. Consistency often looks boring while it is happening. Its results become impressive only after enough time has passed. There is another pattern worth understanding. People often quit a routine because they miss one day. They assume the progress has been lost. This way of thinking creates unnecessary setbacks. Missing one day changes very little. Missing many days creates a new pattern. Protect your routines by returning quickly after interruptions. Life will always include travel, illness, family responsibilities, and unexpected events. Flexibility keeps a routine alive much longer than perfection ever could. Your surroundings deserve regular attention. Walk through your home and ask whether each space supports the person you want to become. Does your desk encourage focused work or constant distraction? Does your bedroom encourage restful sleep or endless screen time? Does your kitchen make healthy choices simple or difficult? Small environmental improvements reduce daily resistance and make positive routines easier to maintain. Many people search for motivation each morning because they have not yet built dependable systems. Systems continue working even on difficult days. They reduce the need for emotional excitement because the next action is already clear. Athletes, musicians, skilled workers, and successful business owners rely on structured routines more than temporary inspiration. They trust preparation because preparation continues producing results long after motivation fades. Another practical exercise is reviewing your routine once every month. Do not ask whether you stayed busy. Ask whether your daily actions moved you closer to the person you want to become. Remove habits that waste time without adding value. Strengthen habits that improve your health, knowledge, relationships, or character. Small monthly adjustments prevent years of drifting in the wrong direction. Remember that every routine carries a hidden message. It quietly tells your brain what matters most. A routine filled with learning teaches that growth matters. A routine filled with kindness strengthens patience. A routine built around responsibility develops reliability. You become what you repeatedly practice, not what you occasionally admire. Real change rarely announces itself with dramatic moments. It appears through quiet mornings, organized afternoons, thoughtful evenings, and repeated choices that gradually reshape your identity. Day by day, your routine becomes your teacher. Every useful habit strengthens your confidence because it provides evidence that you can depend on yourself. As these patterns become part of your everyday life, you no longer feel like someone trying to change. You become someone whose daily actions naturally reflect the person you have worked to become. Chapter 5. Train yourself to stay calm under pressure. Pressure is not the moment that reveals your character. Pressure is the moment that reveals what you have practiced. A calm mind does not appear by accident during difficult situations. It is built through small daily habits long before the challenge arrives. People who remain steady during stressful moments usually have one thing in common. They have trained themselves to respond instead of react. That difference changes the quality of every decision they make. Most people believe pressure comes only from major life events. In reality, pressure appears many times every single day. A missed deadline creates pressure. A disagreement with a family member creates pressure. Unexpected expenses create pressure. Heavy traffic creates pressure. A difficult customer creates pressure. Waiting for important news creates pressure. These ordinary situations become daily training sessions. Every response teaches your brain how to handle the next challenge. Calmness is strengthened through repeated practice during small moments, not only during life-changing events. One practical lesson many people never hear is that the brain makes faster but less accurate decisions when it feels threatened. During stressful situations, your attention becomes narrow. You focus only on what appears dangerous. This can be helpful during real emergencies, but most modern problems are not physical emergencies. An uncomfortable conversation is not a life-threatening event. A mistake at work is not immediate danger. Yet the brain often reacts as though both situations require panic. Understanding this allows you to interrupt the automatic response before it controls your behavior. The first skill is learning to notice the early signs of pressure. Your breathing becomes faster, your shoulders tighten, your voice changes, your thoughts begin racing from one problem to another. Some people speak more quickly, others become silent. These signals are valuable because they appear before emotions become overwhelming. The earlier you recognize them, the easier it becomes to regain control. Many people try to solve stressful situations while their minds are already overloaded. This usually creates more confusion. Instead, slow the pace before solving the problem. Take one slow breath through your nose. Exhale gently. Relax your jaw. Lower your shoulders. Place both feet firmly on the ground. These actions seem simple, but they send important signals to your nervous system. Your body begins moving away from emergency mode. Clear thinking becomes easier because your physical tension decreases. Another overlooked truth is that pressure often grows because of imagination rather than reality. The mind starts predicting events that have not happened. One small mistake becomes a story about losing a job. One disagreement becomes a prediction about losing an important relationship. One delayed reply becomes proof that something terrible has happened. These imagined outcomes create emotional stress before any real evidence exists. Training yourself to separate facts from predictions reduces unnecessary suffering. A useful exercise is asking yourself one direct question during difficult moments. What do I know for certain right now? This question immediately shifts your attention away from assumptions and back toward reality. Perhaps the only fact is that a project needs improvement. Perhaps the only fact is that someone disagreed with your opinion. Facts are usually much smaller than the frightening stories the mind creates around them. Working with facts leads to better decisions because facts can be addressed one step at a time. Another important habit is slowing your speech when emotions become intense. People often speak too quickly during stressful situations. Fast speech encourages rushed thinking. Slow speech gives your brain extra time to process information. It also creates a calmer atmosphere for everyone involved. Whether you are speaking with a family member, a friend, or a colleague, reducing your pace often reduces unnecessary conflict. Pressure also changes the way people listen. Many individuals stop listening because they become busy preparing their next response. They hear only enough words to defend themselves. Strong communicators do something different. They listen until the other person has completely finished speaking. This creates understanding before disagreement. Many arguments continue simply because people interrupt too early. Listening carefully often reveals solutions that hurried conversations never uncover. One practical method is learning to pause before answering emotional situations. A short pause of just a few seconds gives your brain time to organize its thoughts. This pause is not weakness. It is discipline. During those few seconds, you prevent unnecessary words that cannot be taken back. Many damaged relationships begin with sentences spoken too quickly under pressure. There is another lesson worth remembering. Physical exhaustion makes emotional control much more difficult. People often believe they have become impatient or short-tempered, when in reality they have simply ignored their basic needs for several days. Lack of sleep, poor nutrition, and constant overwork reduce your ability to stay calm. Taking care of your physical health is also preparing your emotional strength. A rested mind makes wiser decisions than an exhausted one. Your daily schedule influences how much pressure you experience. Constantly rushing from one responsibility to another trains your brain to live in permanent urgency. Over time, this begins to feel normal. Leave small spaces between important activities whenever possible. Give yourself time to finish one responsibility before beginning the next. These short breaks allow your mind to reset instead of carrying stress from one task into another. Many people try to control everything around them. They become frustrated whenever life refuses to follow their plans. A healthier approach is learning the difference between influence and control. You can influence your preparation. You can influence your attitude. You can influence your effort. You cannot control every outcome, every opinion, or every unexpected event. Accepting this truth reduces a surprising amount of unnecessary pressure because your energy stays focused on actions that actually matter. Another practical habit involves preparing for predictable challenges before they arrive. Think about situations that usually create stress for you. Perhaps it is a weekly meeting. Perhaps it is dealing with difficult customers. Perhaps it is managing busy mornings. Instead of hoping the situation improves by itself, prepare a simple response ahead of time. Decide how you will speak. Decide how you will breathe. Decide what your first action will be. Preparation reduces uncertainty, and reduced uncertainty often lowers stress. Do not mistake emotional control for emotional suppression. Staying calm does not mean pretending nothing affects you. Healthy people acknowledge disappointment, frustration, sadness, and concern. The difference is that they express these emotions thoughtfully instead of allowing emotions to control every action. Ignoring emotions often causes them to return with greater intensity later. Understanding emotions allows them to pass more naturally. Your inner conversation deserves careful attention during difficult moments. Harsh self-criticism increases pressure without improving performance. Instead of calling yourself careless or incapable, describe the situation accurately. Tell yourself that the mistake can be corrected. Remind yourself that every skill improves through practice. Honest language supports learning. Cruel language usually increases fear without creating better results. One powerful daily exercise is intentionally placing yourself in small situations that require patience. Stand in a longer line without reaching for your phone. Drive without becoming frustrated by every delay. Wait quietly during brief moments instead of demanding constant entertainment. These ordinary experiences strengthen emotional discipline because they teach your mind that discomfort does not require immediate reaction. Small acts of patience prepare you for larger challenges later. Notice how calm people use their attention differently. They rarely give equal importance to every problem. They ask which issue truly deserves their energy today. This habit prevents small inconveniences from becoming major emotional burdens. Every problem does not require the same level of concern. Learning to recognize the difference protects your mental energy. Another overlooked practice is reviewing difficult situations after they end. Do not judge yourself harshly. Simply ask what happened, what you handled well, and what you could improve next time. This reflection turns stressful experiences into valuable lessons. Without reflection, pressure becomes wasted experience. With reflection, pressure becomes education. Remember that calmness is not a personality trait reserved for a lucky few. It is a trainable ability that grows stronger through repeated effort. Every difficult conversation is practice. Every unexpected delay is practice. Every disappointing result is practice. Every challenge gives you another opportunity to strengthen your response. The world will continue presenting situations that test your patience, your confidence, and your judgment. You cannot remove every source of pressure from your life. You can develop the habits that allow you to meet those moments with clarity instead of confusion. Day after day, your steady responses become part of your identity. People begin trusting your judgment because they know you remain thoughtful when others become overwhelmed. More importantly, you begin trusting yourself because you know that no matter how difficult the situation becomes, your mind has learned to remain clear, balanced, and ready for the next right step. Chapter 6. Fill your mind with better information. Your future decisions will always reflect the information you repeatedly absorb. Every idea that stays in your mind long enough begins shaping the way you see yourself, the way you understand other people, and the way you respond to everyday situations. Many people spend years trying to improve their confidence without noticing that they continue feeding their minds with information that creates fear, doubt, and confusion. A stronger mindset begins with a stronger source of knowledge. Better thinking is impossible without better learning. Every day, your brain collects thousands of pieces of information. Some are useful, some are meaningless, some are harmful. Your brain does not automatically separate them into helpful and unhelpful categories. That responsibility belongs to you. Every article you read, every conversation you join, every video you watch, and every opinion you repeat becomes part of your mental environment. Over time, this collection of information quietly influences your beliefs. Your beliefs then influence your actions. This process happens whether you notice it or not. One important lesson that many people overlook is that information does not have to be false to be harmful. Even true information can become unhealthy when it is consumed without balance. Constant exposure to disasters, conflict, arguments, and endless criticism teaches the brain to expect problems everywhere. Gradually, the mind becomes more alert to danger than to opportunity. This creates unnecessary stress because your attention begins searching for evidence that confirms a negative view of life. A healthy mind learns to ask a simple question before accepting new information. Will this help me live better tomorrow? This question changes everything. It encourages you to become intentional instead of passive. Instead of consuming whatever appears in front of you, you begin choosing knowledge that improves your character, your judgment, your health, your relationships, or your work. This single habit creates a powerful shift because your attention becomes guided by purpose rather than habit. Many people confuse being informed with being overwhelmed. Knowing every small event happening around the world does not automatically improve your life. Understanding yourself, improving your skills, and strengthening your daily habits often creates much greater value. This does not mean ignoring important events. It means refusing to let endless streams of information steal the attention needed for your own growth. One practical exercise is to observe what enters your mind during an ordinary day. Notice what you watch during meals. Notice what you listen to while traveling. Notice what conversations occupy most of your time. At the end of the day, ask yourself which pieces of information helped you become wiser. You may discover that many hours disappeared without teaching you anything meaningful. Awareness is the first step toward building a healthier mental diet. Another valuable principle is learning slowly instead of collecting endlessly. Modern life encourages people to gather more information than they can ever use. They save articles they never read. They buy books they never open. They watch educational videos while paying attention to something else. Real learning requires focus. Reading one chapter carefully and applying one lesson creates more change than rushing through an entire book without reflection. Do not measure learning by how much information you consume. Measure it by how much your behavior improves. Knowledge that remains inside a notebook has little value until it changes the way you live. After reading something useful, pause for a moment. Ask yourself what action naturally follows this lesson. The answer may be small, but acting on one idea immediately strengthens learning far more than memorizing 10 ideas without practice. Another overlooked habit is returning to valuable information instead of always searching for something new. The brain learns through repetition. Reading the same meaningful lesson several times often reveals details you missed before. Your life also changes over time. A sentence that seemed ordinary last year may become deeply meaningful after new experiences. Revisit books, notes, and lessons that have already improved your thinking. Familiar wisdom often becomes more powerful with maturity. The people you spend time with are also a major source of information. Every conversation teaches something. Some people teach responsibility through their actions. Others teach patience. Some teach honesty. Unfortunately, others teach constant complaining, blame, and discouragement. Listen carefully to the subjects people discuss most often. Repeated conversations slowly shape repeated thinking. Surrounding yourself with thoughtful people gives your mind healthier material to work with every day. Another practical lesson involves asking better questions. Curious people continue growing because they seek understanding instead of quick opinions. During conversations, ask how something works. Ask what lessons someone learned from experience. Ask what mistakes helped them improve. Questions like these create educational discussions instead of empty debates. The quality of your questions often determines the quality of your learning. Many people underestimate the value of writing while learning. Writing forces the brain to organize ideas instead of simply recognizing them. Recognition feels like understanding, but it often disappears quickly. Writing important lessons in your own words strengthens memory because your brain actively processes the information. Keep a simple notebook for useful ideas. Return to it regularly. Over time, it becomes a personal guide, built from lessons you have tested and understood. Another useful practice is creating a daily learning schedule. You do not need several hours. Even 20 minutes of focused learning each day creates remarkable progress over months and years. Consistency matters far more than intensity. Reading a few thoughtful pages every day builds deeper understanding than reading an entire book once and forgetting most of it within a week. Be careful about confusing entertainment with education. Both have their place, but they serve different purposes. Entertainment relaxes the mind. Education develops the mind. Problems begin when entertainment replaces learning completely. A person who spends every free hour seeking distraction eventually finds it difficult to concentrate on meaningful ideas. Balance creates a healthier relationship with both. One interesting fact about the brain is that it remembers information more effectively when it connects new ideas with real experiences. This means you should look for opportunities to practice what you learn as soon as possible. Reading about communication becomes more valuable after using those skills in a conversation. Learning about organization becomes meaningful after improving your workspace. Experience gives information a permanent place in your memory. Another important habit is learning from different kinds of people. Valuable lessons do not belong only to famous experts. You can learn discipline from a dedicated worker. You can learn patience from an experienced parent. You can learn careful planning from a skilled craftsperson. Every person carries knowledge shaped by experience. Listening with genuine interest often reveals practical wisdom that cannot be found in textbooks. Pay attention to the emotional effect of the information you consume. After finishing a book, listening to a podcast, or watching a video, notice how you feel. Do you feel clearer or more confused, more hopeful or more discouraged, more prepared or more distracted? Helpful information usually leaves you with greater understanding and practical direction. Harmful information often leaves you anxious without providing useful action. Do not become obsessed with collecting facts while ignoring character. Knowledge becomes dangerous when it grows faster than wisdom. A truly educated person is not simply someone who knows many things. A truly educated person uses knowledge with honesty, patience, humility, and responsibility. Character determines how information influences your life and the lives of people around you. Another overlooked strategy is reducing unnecessary mental noise. Constant notifications interrupt concentration before ideas have time to settle. Reading while checking messages every few minutes weakens comprehension. Protect short periods of uninterrupted learning. Even 30 focused minutes without distractions often produce better understanding than 2 hours of divided attention. Review what you learn at the end of each week. Ask yourself which lesson changed your behavior, which idea solved a real problem, which piece of advice deserves another reading. Reflection transforms information into personal understanding. Without reflection, many valuable lessons disappear because the brain quickly moves toward the next source of stimulation. Remember that your mind becomes similar to what it repeatedly studies. Fill it with thoughtful ideas, and your judgment becomes stronger. Fill it with practical knowledge, and your decisions become wiser. Fill it with honest observations, and your perspective becomes clearer. Every day offers another opportunity to choose what enters your mind. Those choices quietly shape your habits, strengthen your character, and prepare you to face life with greater confidence, deeper understanding, and a mindset built on knowledge that truly improves the way you live. Chapter 7. Keep showing up even when tired. The greatest changes in life are usually built on the days when you least feel like making an effort. Energy rises and falls, motivation comes and goes, emotions change from one day to the next. What keeps a person moving forward is not constant excitement. It is the decision to continue even when progress feels slow. This habit separates temporary improvement from lasting growth because it teaches your mind that commitment is stronger than comfort. Many people believe successful individuals wake up every morning feeling ready to work. Real life tells a different story. Everyone experiences days of low energy. Everyone has mornings when the bed feels more inviting than the work ahead. Everyone reaches moments where rest sounds easier than responsibility. The difference is not the absence of tiredness. The difference is how people respond to it. Some people treat tiredness as a signal to stop everything. Others pause, recover where necessary, then continue with the next important step. One important lesson that deserves attention is the difference between physical fatigue and mental resistance. Physical fatigue comes from genuine demands on the body. Mental resistance often appears before the work even begins. Many people say they are exhausted before they have actually started the task. Once they begin, they discover they had enough energy after all. Learning to recognize this difference prevents you from giving up because of temporary hesitation rather than true exhaustion. Pay attention to what happens during the first few minutes of any difficult task. Your mind searches for easier alternatives. It reminds you of other things you could do. It encourages small delays. This happens because the brain naturally prefers familiar comfort over unfamiliar effort. These thoughts are normal. They are not instructions. You do not have to obey every thought that enters your mind. You only need to recognize it, then continue with your chosen action. There is another practical truth that many people overlook. Progress is rarely lost because of one difficult day. Progress is usually lost because one missed day quietly becomes several missed weeks. A single interruption is not the problem. The problem begins when the interruption becomes the new routine. Returning quickly matters far more than never stopping. Every return strengthens your belief that setbacks do not control your future. One useful practice is lowering the demand without lowering the standard. Some days you may not have enough energy for your usual effort. That does not mean you should abandon the habit completely. Read 1 page instead of 20. Practice for 15 minutes instead of an hour. Walk around the neighborhood instead of completing a long workout. Completing a smaller version protects the habit while respecting your current level of energy. This approach keeps momentum alive instead of allowing long breaks to weaken your discipline. Another overlooked lesson is that consistency builds trust with yourself. Every time you follow through on a commitment, you quietly strengthen your identity. You begin seeing yourself as someone who finishes what they start. This inner confidence cannot be borrowed from another person. It grows from repeated evidence created by your own actions. Each completed day becomes proof that your promises have value. Many people wait for the perfect emotional state before beginning meaningful work. They believe productivity depends on feeling inspired. Daily experience proves something different. Action often creates the emotional state people are waiting for. The mind becomes more focused after work begins. Interest grows while progress becomes visible. Satisfaction appears after effort, not before it. This is why starting is often the hardest part of the entire process. Notice how experienced professionals approach their responsibilities. A teacher prepares lessons even after a demanding week. A nurse continues caring for patients despite personal challenges. A skilled mechanic repairs another vehicle even after completing several difficult jobs. These people do not depend on perfect conditions every day. They have learned that reliability creates long-term success. Their habits protect their performance when emotions become unpredictable. Your environment can either support your consistency or quietly weaken it. A cluttered workspace invites distraction. Constant notifications interrupt concentration. Endless entertainment makes meaningful work feel less attractive because your brain becomes accustomed to immediate stimulation. Protecting your attention helps preserve your energy. Every unnecessary interruption forces the brain to begin again, and repeated restarts create more mental fatigue than steady focus. Another practical idea involves reducing the number of decisions you make before beginning important work. Decide in advance when you will start. Prepare the materials you need the night before. Remove anything that creates unnecessary delay. The fewer obstacles standing between you and the first step, the easier it becomes to continue, even on difficult days. Preparation often succeeds where motivation fails because it removes excuses before they appear. Many people misunderstand discipline. They imagine discipline as constant pressure or endless self-criticism. Healthy discipline looks very different. It is calm. It is steady. It does not waste energy arguing with itself every morning. It quietly follows the plan. This peaceful form of discipline lasts much longer because it depends on structure rather than emotion. Instead of asking whether you feel ready, it simply asks what the next responsibility is. Another valuable insight is that your brain remembers unfinished commitments. Every responsibility you repeatedly postpone continues asking for attention in the background. This creates mental weight that follows you throughout the day. Completing even one meaningful task reduces this hidden burden. Many people describe feeling lighter after finishing work they had delayed for weeks. The task itself may not have been difficult. Carrying it mentally was the exhausting part. Be careful not to compare your hardest days with another person's easiest moments. You never see the complete picture of someone else's life. Every individual faces struggles that remain invisible. Comparing your private challenges with another person's public achievements creates unfair expectations. Instead, compare today's effort with your own previous effort. Personal growth becomes clearer when the comparison is honest. Recovery also deserves respect. Continuing through ordinary tiredness is valuable. Ignoring serious exhaustion is not. Strong people understand the difference. Rest is not the enemy of discipline. Careless living is. Sleep restores attention. Nutritious food supports concentration. Quiet moments help organize thoughts. Purposeful recovery prepares you to return stronger instead of forcing yourself toward complete burnout. A healthy routine includes both effort and restoration, because lasting progress depends on both. Another practical habit is dividing large responsibilities into clear sections. Looking at an entire project often creates unnecessary pressure. Looking only at the next small step feels manageable. Finish one page, complete one phone call, organize one part of your workspace, solve one problem before moving to the next. Small victories reduce mental resistance because the brain sees visible progress instead of endless work. Learn to celebrate reliability instead of only celebrating major achievements. Completing ordinary responsibilities every day may not receive applause, but these quiet victories shape your future. Showing up for your family, your work, your learning, and your health builds a life that feels stable and meaningful. Extraordinary results are often created by ordinary actions, repeated faithfully over long periods. There is another lesson that becomes clearer with experience. The hardest day to continue is often the day just before noticeable improvement appears. Many people quit because they cannot yet see the results of their effort. They mistake invisible progress for no progress. Yet meaningful growth often happens below the surface before becoming visible. Skills improve gradually. Confidence develops quietly. Character strengthens through repeated choices that nobody else notices. Trust the process long enough for those hidden improvements to appear. Pay attention to the language you use after difficult days. Avoid saying that everything has fallen apart because one task remained unfinished. Speak with accuracy instead of exaggeration. Tell yourself that today was difficult, but tomorrow offers another opportunity. Honest language keeps disappointment from becoming hopelessness. The way you describe your experience influences the way you respond to it. Another effective strategy is creating a personal rule that removes unnecessary debate. Decide that you will always begin your most important responsibility before checking unnecessary entertainment. Decide that you will always spend a few minutes improving yourself before ending the day. Clear personal rules reduce mental negotiation because the decision has already been made. The mind spends less energy arguing and more energy acting. Every season of life brings different responsibilities. Some seasons feel exciting, others feel demanding. There will be periods when progress appears slow and recognition is absent. Those are the moments that quietly shape your character. Continuing with patience teaches resilience. Continuing with honesty builds self-respect. Continuing with steady effort develops confidence that no outside approval can provide. Years from now, your life will not be defined by the days when everything felt easy. It will be shaped by the mornings when you got up despite low energy, the evenings when you completed one more meaningful task before resting, and the ordinary moments when you chose commitment over convenience. Those quiet decisions accumulate day after day until they become the foundation of a stronger mindset, a more dependable character, and a life built through faithful effort rather than temporary emotion. Chapter 8. Let go of habits holding you back. Every positive habit you build becomes stronger when you stop feeding the habits that work against you. Many people spend years trying to improve their lives by adding new routines while keeping the same behaviors that quietly drain their energy. Real growth is not only about learning something new, it is also about having the courage to release what no longer helps you. The space created by removing harmful habits often becomes the place where better habits begin to grow. Most habits do not begin as serious problems. They usually start as small choices that feel harmless. One day of unnecessary delay becomes another. A few minutes of distraction slowly becomes several hours. Speaking negatively about yourself begins as frustration, but eventually becomes normal conversation inside your own mind. Because these changes happen gradually, they rarely attract attention. Months later, people wonder why they feel stuck, without realizing that the answer has been repeated in their daily routine all along. One useful lesson that many people never hear is that the brain values familiarity more than improvement. It prefers patterns it already understands because familiar behavior requires less mental effort. This is why people often continue habits they no longer enjoy. The habit feels easier than the change. Understanding this removes unnecessary guilt. Feeling resistance does not mean you are weak. It means your brain is protecting a routine it has practiced many times before. Many people try to remove a habit by using willpower alone. They tell themselves they will simply stop. They depend on determination for a few days until stress returns. Then the old behavior appears again. A better approach is to understand why the habit exists. Every repeated behavior serves a purpose, even unhealthy ones. Some habits provide comfort, some reduce boredom, some help people avoid difficult emotions. Until you understand what the habit is providing, replacing it becomes much more difficult. Take a close look at the moments before an unwanted habit begins. Notice where you are. Notice who is around you. Notice how you feel. You may discover that you reach for your phone every time work becomes difficult. You may notice unnecessary eating begins when you feel lonely rather than hungry. You may find yourself avoiding important tasks after receiving criticism. These patterns reveal valuable information. The habit is often responding to a trigger instead of appearing randomly. Once you recognize the trigger, create a different response before the old habit begins. Suppose stress usually leads you toward endless scrolling. Instead, stand up and walk for 5 minutes. Drink a glass of water. Write down what is creating the pressure. Call someone who encourages growth instead of distraction. The goal is not to leave an empty space. The goal is to replace an unhelpful response with a healthier one. Empty spaces often invite old habits to return. Another overlooked principle is that habits become weaker when they become inconvenient. People often focus only on making good habits easier. The opposite strategy also works. Make harmful habits more difficult to reach. Remove unnecessary applications from your phone. Keep distracting devices out of your workspace. Place unhealthy snacks where they are not immediately visible. These small changes increase the effort required to repeat the old behavior. Even a little extra effort gives your thinking mind time to make a better decision. Be careful about saying that you have no control over your habits. Every repeated action strengthens that belief. A more honest statement is that changing habits requires practice. This small difference matters because it keeps responsibility in your hands. The words you choose shape your expectations. Your expectations influence your effort. Your effort determines whether lasting change becomes possible. Another practical lesson is that many harmful habits grow stronger during moments of emotional discomfort. People often seek immediate relief instead of lasting improvement. They look for something that removes pressure quickly without solving the real problem. Temporary comfort feels rewarding in the moment, but it often creates greater difficulty later. Lasting improvement usually asks for patience first and rewards you afterward. Learning to tolerate short periods of discomfort is one of the most valuable skills you can develop. Pay attention to the stories you tell yourself after repeating an old habit. Many people make one mistake and immediately decide they have failed completely. This creates unnecessary disappointment. A healthier response is to study the situation. Ask what happened before the habit appeared. Ask what you were feeling. Ask what choice might help next time. Curiosity teaches. Harsh judgment often stops learning before it begins. Another valuable practice is reducing the number of situations that test your self-control. People often admire those who constantly resist temptation. There is a quieter form of wisdom. Avoid unnecessary temptation whenever possible. If you know a certain environment encourages unhelpful behavior, spend less time there. If certain conversations always leave you discouraged, reduce your involvement. Protecting yourself from predictable problems is not weakness, it is thoughtful preparation. Many people underestimate how strongly routines influence habits. A harmful habit rarely stands alone. It usually connects with several other actions. Staying awake too late makes morning discipline harder. A rushed morning leads to poor planning. Poor planning creates unnecessary stress. Stress encourages unhealthy choices. One habit quietly supports another. Breaking one link often weakens the entire chain. This is why improving a single daily routine sometimes creates positive changes in many different areas of life. There is another lesson that deserves careful attention. Your identity often follows your repeated behavior. A person who continually delays important work begins believing they are naturally lazy. Someone who frequently gives up during challenges starts believing they lack determination. These labels are dangerous because they confuse behavior with identity. A habit is something you practice. It is not who you are. Once you separate the two, change becomes much more realistic because you stop treating temporary behavior as permanent truth. Another effective strategy is to make your progress visible. Keep a simple calendar. Mark each day you successfully replace an old habit with a healthier one. Do not aim for perfection. Aim for consistency. Watching those marks accumulate creates encouragement because you can see evidence of improvement. Visible progress reminds the brain that change is actually happening, even when results still feel small. Your relationships also influence the habits you keep. Human behavior spreads quietly through observation. Spend enough time with people who constantly waste time, and you begin accepting wasted time as normal. Spend time with people who respect their commitments, and your own standards slowly rise. You do not have to judge anyone. Simply recognize that your environment influences your daily decisions more than you may realize. Another practical exercise is creating a short pause before every familiar habit. Count slowly to 5 before acting. During those few seconds, ask yourself whether this choice will help the person you are becoming. This pause interrupts automatic behavior. It creates a small space where conscious thinking can replace unconscious repetition. Many better decisions begin with nothing more than a brief moment of awareness. Remember that not every enjoyable habit is harmful. Rest is valuable. Recreation is valuable. Time with friends is valuable. The question is whether the habit leaves you stronger or weaker afterward. Healthy activities restore your energy and improve your ability to live responsibly. Harmful habits often leave you with regret, wasted time, or less confidence than before. Learn to notice the difference by paying attention to how you feel after the activity ends, rather than while it is happening. One interesting observation is that people often focus only on stopping visible habits while ignoring invisible ones. Complaining is a habit. Interrupting others is a habit. Assuming the worst is a habit. Avoiding difficult conversations is a habit. Speaking harshly to yourself is a habit. These patterns may not attract attention immediately, but they quietly shape your character every day. Improving your life requires paying attention to these invisible routines as carefully as the visible ones. Do not expect old habits to disappear without returning from time to time. The brain remembers well-practiced patterns for a long time. Certain places, sounds, or emotions may remind you of previous behavior even after months of improvement. This is not failure, it is simply memory at work. What matters is the decision you make after the reminder appears. Every healthy response weakens the old pathway and strengthens the new one. Another important principle is celebrating replacement instead of restriction. Instead of thinking only about what you must stop, focus on what you are building. You are creating better focus instead of reducing distraction. You are building stronger health instead of simply avoiding unhealthy choices. You are developing patience instead of reacting impulsively. This positive perspective gives your mind something meaningful to move toward, rather than only something to move away from. Every lasting improvement begins with honest observation. Look at your daily habits without making excuses and without condemning yourself. Notice which actions support your future and which quietly steal it. Then make one thoughtful change and repeat it long enough for it to become natural. Day after day, those small decisions remove the habits that once limited your potential. In their place grows a stronger character, clearer judgment, greater self-respect, and a mindset shaped by choices that move your life forward instead of holding it back. Chapter 9. Spend time becoming your best self. The most valuable project you will ever work on is yourself. Every improvement you make in your thinking, your character, your knowledge, and your daily habits follows you into every part of life. Better relationships begin with a better person. Better work begins with better preparation. Better decisions begin with better understanding. Many people spend years trying to improve their circumstances while giving very little attention to improving themselves. Lasting success almost always begins from the inside before it becomes visible on the outside. Personal growth is often misunderstood. Some people believe it means becoming perfect. Others believe it means changing everything about themselves. Neither idea is true. Becoming your best self means becoming a little wiser than you were yesterday. It means replacing one poor habit with one helpful habit. It means learning one useful lesson and applying it. Growth is not about becoming someone else. It is about becoming the strongest version of the person you are capable of becoming. One important lesson that many people overlook is that your future is built during ordinary hours, not extraordinary moments. A single afternoon spent learning a valuable skill may seem small. Reading 10 pages from a thoughtful book may not feel life-changing. Spending 30 minutes practicing a meaningful ability may appear ordinary. Yet these quiet investments accumulate. After months and years, they create knowledge, confidence, and opportunities that cannot be achieved through occasional bursts of effort alone. Many people spend their free time recovering from work without asking whether they are also preparing for tomorrow. Rest is necessary. Recreation is healthy, but there is a difference between recovering your energy and escaping your responsibility. Time that restores your body and clears your mind helps you grow. Time that simply disappears without purpose often leaves you feeling empty afterward. The question is not whether you deserve free time. The question is whether your free time helps you become stronger. Another valuable truth is that improvement requires intention. Growth rarely happens by accident. Your character will not become stronger simply because another year passes. Your knowledge will not increase because you hope it will. Every meaningful change begins with a decision about how you will spend your attention. Your calendar quietly reveals your priorities. If every hour is given to distraction, there is little room left for development. If even a small part of each day is reserved for learning and reflection, progress becomes much more likely. One practical habit is creating a daily appointment with yourself. Choose a specific time that belongs only to your personal growth. During this period, read, write, study, practice, or reflect. Treat this appointment with the same respect you would give an important meeting. Many people cancel on themselves before they would ever cancel on someone else. This weakens self-trust over time. Keeping this daily commitment strengthens your belief that your own development deserves attention. There is another lesson that deserves careful thought. Many people judge themselves only by their achievements. They ask whether they earned more money, received recognition, or reached a certain position. These goals have value, but they do not tell the complete story. Ask different questions as well. Did you become more patient this month? Did you improve the way you solve problems? Did you become a better listener? Did you keep more promises to yourself? Character often grows quietly before success becomes visible. One useful exercise is writing a description of the person you want to become. Do not focus on appearance or possessions. Describe qualities instead. Perhaps you want to become dependable, calm, honest, curious, disciplined, kind, organized, thoughtful. Once these qualities become clear, ask yourself what daily action supports each one. Character develops through repeated behavior. Every action either strengthens or weakens the qualities you are trying to build. Many people believe learning ends after school or formal education. In reality, some of the most important lessons begin afterward. Life teaches through experience, mistakes, conversations, books, observation, and reflection. People who continue learning throughout adulthood often remain adaptable because they are willing to update their understanding. They do not become trapped by old assumptions. They remain curious enough to improve. Another overlooked habit is making time for quiet reflection. Without reflection, experience passes by without becoming wisdom. Set aside a few minutes each week to review your recent decisions. Ask yourself what worked well. Notice where you struggled. Consider what you would do differently next time. Reflection transforms ordinary experiences into valuable lessons because it allows your mind to organize what it has learned instead of simply moving to the next activity. Do not underestimate the importance of developing practical skills. Learning to communicate clearly, manage your time, solve problems calmly, organize your finances, prepare healthy meals, or understand people better creates lasting value. These abilities improve everyday life because they influence situations you face regularly. Personal growth becomes meaningful when it helps you handle real responsibilities with greater confidence. Another valuable principle is becoming comfortable with being a beginner. Many adults avoid learning because they dislike feeling inexperienced. They worry about making mistakes or asking simple questions. This fear quietly limits their potential. Every expert began without knowledge. Every skilled person once struggled with basic steps. Accepting temporary discomfort allows long-term improvement. Staying comfortable often leads to remaining unchanged. Notice how much time disappears through unconscious habits. Small moments scattered throughout the day often become large blocks of lost opportunity. Waiting in line, traveling, sitting before appointments, or spending a quiet evening can become chances to read, think, plan, or practice something useful. You do not need to fill every minute with work. You only need to recognize that many ordinary moments hold more value than they first appear. Another practical exercise involves choosing one skill to improve over the next 3 months. Avoid trying to master everything at once. Concentrated effort usually produces better results than divided attention. Read about the skill, practice it regularly, ask for feedback, keep simple notes about your progress. Focusing deeply on one area teaches patience and creates visible improvement that encourages future learning. Your friendships also influence who you become. Spend time with people who encourage responsibility, honesty, and growth. Observe how they solve problems, manage challenges, and treat others. You do not need friends who agree with everything you say. You need people who encourage your best qualities and challenge you to improve. Healthy relationships become classrooms where character continues developing through everyday interaction. Another important lesson is learning to respect your own promises. Every time you say you will do something and follow through, you strengthen self-confidence. Every time you repeatedly ignore your own commitments, you weaken it. Trust begins within. Before expecting other people to believe in your reliability, become someone who believes your own word. This confidence grows through repeated action rather than repeated intention. There is also great value in learning from your previous self, instead of constantly comparing yourself with other people. Compare your patience today with your patience 6 months ago. Compare your habits today with those you practiced last year. Personal growth becomes much more encouraging when your measure of success is your own progress rather than someone else's journey. Your path is unique because your experiences, responsibilities, and opportunities are different. Another practical habit is protecting time for deep concentration. Constant interruptions prevent meaningful improvement because complex skills require focused attention. Turn off unnecessary notifications. Work on one important task at a time. Give your mind enough uninterrupted time to understand difficult ideas. Deep focus allows learning to become lasting rather than temporary. Remember that becoming your best self also includes serving other people well. Knowledge becomes more valuable when it helps someone else. Patience becomes meaningful when it improves a relationship. Discipline becomes powerful when it allows you to keep your responsibilities. Personal growth is not only about personal success, it also increases your ability to contribute positively to the lives around you. Another overlooked truth is that growth often feels ordinary while it is happening. Reading another chapter does not feel dramatic. Practicing another skill does not always feel exciting. Choosing honesty during a difficult conversation may go unnoticed by everyone else. Yet these quiet decisions are shaping your future identity. They are building habits that will guide your choices long after the moment has passed. Do not become discouraged because improvement seems slow. Many important changes happen beneath the surface before they become visible. Your judgment becomes clearer through repeated learning. Your confidence grows through repeated preparation. Your character strengthens through repeated responsibility. These changes cannot always be measured immediately, but they appear in the quality of your decisions and the steadiness of your actions. Every day gives you a fresh opportunity to invest in the person you are becoming. Every useful book you study, every thoughtful conversation you have, every new skill you practice, and every responsible decision you make adds another strong piece to your future. Over time, these investments create something far more valuable than temporary success. They create a person who is wiser, more capable, more dependable, and prepared to meet life's opportunities with confidence, humility, and lasting purpose. Chapter 10. Live every day with purpose and growth. A meaningful life is not created by chance. It is created by the choices you make when no one is watching. Every ordinary day gives you an opportunity to move forward or remain where you are. Most people believe purpose is something they discover one day. In reality, purpose becomes clearer through daily action. It grows stronger every time you choose to live with intention, instead of simply reacting to whatever happens around you. Many people wake up with a list of responsibilities, but no clear direction. They know what they have to do, yet they do not know why they are doing it. This creates a life that feels busy, but not meaningful. There is an important difference between completing tasks and building a life. Tasks fill your schedule. Purpose gives those tasks value. Washing the dishes becomes caring for your home. Going to work becomes supporting your family and developing your abilities. Studying becomes preparing yourself to create a better future. Purpose changes the way you see ordinary responsibilities. One lesson that many people overlook is that the human brain works better when it has a clear direction. Without direction, attention moves toward whatever feels easiest in the moment. This often leads to distraction, delay, and wasted time. When you know what matters most, your decisions become simpler. You spend less energy wondering what to do next, because your priorities are already clear. Purpose reduces confusion because it gives your mind a reliable path to follow. Every morning begins with a choice. You can allow the day to decide how you feel, or you can decide what kind of person you want to be before the day begins. This is not about pretending every day will be easy. Some days will bring disappointment. Others will bring unexpected opportunities. Your purpose remains steady because it depends on your values, not on your circumstances. This stability gives you strength when life becomes unpredictable. Another practical truth is that purpose grows through responsibility. Many people wait for a dramatic opportunity before believing their life has meaning. They overlook the responsibilities already in front of them. Being honest during difficult conversations has purpose. Completing your work with care has purpose. Keeping your promises has purpose. Helping someone without expecting praise has purpose. Great lives are often built through faithful attention to ordinary responsibilities repeated over many years. Take time to identify the values you want your life to represent. Perhaps you value honesty. Perhaps you value discipline, kindness, patience, learning, or reliability. These values become your personal guide. Before making an important decision, ask whether the choice supports those values. This simple habit reduces regret because your actions become aligned with the person you are trying to become, rather than with temporary emotions. Another overlooked lesson is that growth requires regular adjustment. A person who never examines their habits often repeats the same mistakes for years. Reflection allows improvement. At the end of each week, spend a few quiet minutes reviewing your progress. Notice where you improved. Recognize where you became distracted. Identify one change that will make next week better. Small corrections made regularly prevent large problems from developing later. Many people measure success only by visible achievements. They celebrate promotions, awards, and financial milestones. While these accomplishments have value, they do not tell the complete story. Ask yourself different questions as well. Did you become more dependable this month? Did you handle disappointment with greater maturity? Did you become more patient with the people around you? These forms of growth often create deeper satisfaction because they strengthen your character instead of only your circumstances. One practical habit is giving every day one meaningful objective. Do not overwhelm yourself with endless expectations. Choose one important improvement you will complete before the day ends. It may be finishing a difficult project. It may be learning a new skill. It may be having an honest conversation you have been avoiding. Completing one meaningful objective creates momentum because your day ends with evidence that you moved forward. There is another principle that deserves careful attention. Growth often requires saying no to good opportunities so you can remain committed to better ones. Every commitment uses time and energy. When your schedule becomes too full, your most important priorities begin receiving less attention. Learning to decline unnecessary responsibilities protects your ability to focus on what truly matters. A purposeful life is not filled with endless activity, it is filled with meaningful activity. Notice how people often spend more time planning vacations than planning the direction of their lives. They carefully organize a few days away while allowing entire years to pass without reviewing their personal growth. A simple monthly review can change this pattern. Write down what you learned, record habits that improved your life, identify challenges that taught valuable lessons. This written record becomes evidence of progress and helps you recognize patterns that might otherwise remain unnoticed. Another valuable insight is that your purpose becomes stronger when it includes service to others. A life focused only on personal gain often feels incomplete. Helping others does not always require dramatic actions. Listening with full attention has value. Sharing useful knowledge has value. Encouraging someone during a difficult season has value. Performing your work with integrity benefits people you may never meet. Purpose expands when your actions improve life beyond yourself. Do not become discouraged because your progress appears slower than expected. The strongest trees spend years developing deep roots before their full height becomes visible. Human growth follows a similar pattern. Many of the most important improvements happen inside your thinking long before they appear in your results. Better judgment develops quietly. Patience grows through repeated practice. Wisdom increases one experience at a time. These changes may not attract attention immediately, but they influence every future decision. Another practical habit is protecting your attention from constant urgency. Modern life encourages people to respond immediately to every message, every notification, and every interruption. This leaves very little time for thoughtful work or meaningful reflection. Create periods during the day when your attention belongs entirely to your most important responsibility. Deep focus allows you to produce better work while also giving your mind the satisfaction of completing something valuable. One lesson that experience teaches is that setbacks do not cancel purpose. Everyone encounters failure. Everyone experiences disappointment. Everyone faces seasons where progress feels slower than expected. The important question is not whether difficulties appear. The important question is whether your direction changes because of them. Purpose provides stability during uncertain times because it reminds you why your effort still matters, even when immediate results are not visible. Your daily conversations also shape the direction of your life. Speak about solutions more often than problems. Speak about learning more often than complaining. Speak honestly about challenges while remaining committed to improvement. Language influences attention. Attention influences action. Action creates the future. The words you repeat every day gradually become the beliefs that guide your decisions. Another overlooked practice is celebrating quiet victories. Finishing your responsibilities on time deserves recognition. Choosing patience during a stressful moment deserves recognition. Remaining honest when dishonesty would have been easier deserves recognition. These moments may never receive public applause, but they strengthen the qualities that create a meaningful life. Character grows through these unseen victories. Be willing to continue learning, regardless of your age or experience. Every stage of life teaches different lessons. A young person learns through curiosity. An experienced person learns through reflection. Someone facing hardship learns resilience. Someone experiencing success learns responsibility. Growth never truly ends, because life continues presenting new opportunities to improve your understanding. Remember that purpose is not found in one extraordinary achievement. It is built through thousands of ordinary decisions made with honesty, discipline, and care. Every responsible action becomes another piece of the life you are creating. Every useful lesson you apply strengthens your future. Every challenge you face with courage adds depth to your character. The habits you have developed throughout this journey are not isolated ideas. They work together. Better thinking improves your decisions. Consistent action builds confidence. Protecting your mind strengthens your focus. Healthy routines create stability. Calmness under pressure improves judgment. Better information expands your understanding. Persistence develops resilience. Letting go of harmful habits creates space for lasting change. Investing in yourself increases your ability to serve others. Living with purpose gives direction to everything else. Years from now, your life will not be remembered because you had perfect days. It will be shaped by the countless ordinary days when you chose to learn instead of complain, to improve instead of delay, to stay responsible instead of making excuses, and to continue growing even when progress seems slow. Those quiet choices become your character. Your character shapes your future. Your future becomes the natural result of the habits you practiced every single day. Live each day with clear purpose, protect your growth with consistent action, and allow every ordinary moment to become another step toward the strongest version of yourself. As you finish this audiobook, remember that changing your mindset is not a one-time decision. It is the result of the small habits you choose to practice every single day. The thoughts you repeat, the actions you take, and the choices you make in ordinary moments are shaping the person you are becoming. The journey does not end here. The real transformation begins when you take these lessons and apply them to your daily life. Start with one habit. Practice it consistently. Give yourself time to grow. A stronger mindset is built through patience, awareness, and continuous improvement. There will be difficult days. There will be moments when progress feels slow. But every time you choose a better thought, a better action, or a better response, you are moving closer to the person you want to become. Keep learning, keep improving, keep investing in yourself. If this audiobook helped you see your habits and mindset in a new way, return whenever you need a reminder of your growth journey. More powerful lessons, practical ideas, and life-changing insights are waiting for you. Your mindset creates your direction. Your habits create your future. Keep building both with purpose.